It's April 13th. I'm going to pre-ride the Around the Finger Lakes 400K. It's just me, solo ride. So, week after I finished the Great Canada Bike Tour 600. But I feel like the weather's okay, so it's a good day to pre-ride. And I feel pretty recovered, so hopefully this isn't a big mistake. We'll see. It's 5 o'clock, right on the button. I'm only about less than 2 miles away from this location, so this is a great spot to start my last ride, qualifying for PvP. This is Cass Park in Ithaca, skating rink, right on the inlet to Ithaca's Cuga Lake. So I'm starting this ride, starts at Cuga Lake on the southern end, and it touches the southern ends of Cuga, Seneca, and Keuka Lake, and then goes up the Cohocton River Valley to Kinesis Lake, and then goes across the tops of all the Finger Lakes to the easternmost, which is Ithaca, and back along Fall Creek, which is the creek that goes over Ithaca Falls. Should be a nice ride. I'm going to take it kind of slow going up the hill here, and there's not a lot to film. It's night, it's not sunrise yet. It's right at 5 o'clock, so I'm going to get going. And I've done this before. I've been to Watkins Glen by sunrise. It's a little different start time for me for this particular ride. Good morning. Well, it's not over water, but it's climbed about, I guess, 1,000 feet or so far. The first like 7 miles. So good warm up. You can see Watkins Glen, the actual gorge, right in front of me, right to the left of that telephone pole, really, and that steeple. Over here's Seneca Lake, the second of our Around the Finger Lakes lakes. Got the marshland to the south of Cohocton Valley Trail and stuff like that down south of the lake. The actual gorge of Watkins Glen. A long view Seneca Lake. We're going to be going over that hill and on over. The next big climb is Sugar Hill over to what is it? I think it's called Whitehead Hill, between Lamoka and Juanita. Is that right? I think those are the lakes, Juanita and Lamoka. It's a killer hill. Do that in about an hour. Down into Watkins we go. That took all of 2 seconds to get down that hill. Grab a cup of coffee here in Watkins Glen. Hi, can I get a sour cream and a coffee? Yeah. Oh, I feel like this is going better than other times I've tried this ride. Probably just in better shape because I've been doing more riding. Go figure. There's a steep climb on this gravel. I think it ends up here though. What a nice morning. This is the little valley down between Cuca and Seneca. Two little lakes called Juanita and Lamoka. Just learned they're stocked with muskie. Guys are going out frog fishing, trying to catch some bass though. Man, I'd like to come back here and, with a canoe and catch a muskie. That'd be a fun time. Now this hill up here, I think, is that Whitehead Hill. It's a bit of a bear, about a mile long of 9 and 10%. I'm going to put it in some very childlike gears and just kind of slowly spin my way up there. I'm going to just go up this thing and see if I can not walk at all. It's kind of embarrassing. It doesn't look like anything. And on the map, it's just like this little hump. But it's one of the more, I guess because it's kind of surprising, makes it worse. Just in a baby gear, just kind of going, rah, spin it up. Up, up, up. What a great view. Like one of the best moments on the ride, I think. Right down in the Hammondsport here.
In a quarter mile, turn left.
Alright, this is Champlain Beach in Hammondsport. That's Cuca Lake at the very southern end of it. We won't touch this one again. It's a beautiful ride around there, but I think you have to sink way down south to pick up the Penyan area, and it would be way more than a 400. So alright, gonna move on to Bath, gonna grab a second breakfast at a convenience store and really the second control. Feeling pretty good, eating lots of food. Well, I'm in Bath, about 50 miles in, a little more, about a fifth of the way through the ride. And I've done about a 5,400 feet of climbing, which is a third of the climbing on the ride. So a third of the climbing is in the first fifth of the ride. The rest of the ride isn't like this, but it went pretty well. I'm gonna get myself a couple sandwiches and head on up the Cohocton River Valley. Here's the Cohocton River. I'm going to be following it upstream for a little while. Took a little longer than I probably should have in that Atlanta control. I got a sandwich. I'm taking this easy and getting the food early. Hopefully if I can get ahead of the nutrition game, that'll be about 25 miles or so before I see another lake. Pretty out here though. Lots of little hills like this. But if you had to punch your way over them, be a pain in the neck. So there's a little pass here. I think it's very cute. A Polka Moonshine. We're gonna take that and just go straight over this little hole in the hill.
Turn left onto Polka Moonshine Road, CR 74.
Polka Moonshine. Alright, it's a little bitty bump here as opposed to a huge climb. We've reached the south shore of Kinesis. People are even out in canoes and boats. And this is Hemlock. It's a water supply for Rochester. It's a bit of a drive down there. I'm not going to make it all the way down, but it's about as close as you can see it. Maybe we'll see a peek through the trees. But it's undeveloped. No one lives on Hemlock, I think. Off we go. Hey, a view of Canadice Lake. Undeveloped. Another one of those Rochester City water supply lakes. Can't build on it. Right up here, we're gonna turn on Birch Road. It's the big hill of the route. It's like a mile long at 10%. Planning to barely make it. I wonder if I'll be able to make it up. I don't know. We'll see. I'll make it up. I might be walking it, but what Polka Moonshine was, this is not. I guess if you're committed to go slow and you have sufficiently low gearing, anything's possible. This bike has a 2634, which is pretty low. If I just kind of slowly push the pedals, kind of just goes up things. If I try to work it hard, I'll suffer and I won't really get up there any faster. Wasn't fast this time, but at least I just, you know, kept it slow and steady in a straight line. Feels like I got a little better at climbing. Control right ahead. So this, at the top of Birch Road, or Birch Hill Road, there's this cemetery. I got here about 4:36. But the cemetery is full of opportunities for information control, so look for one up here. Now we got a big descent down to Honeoye Lake. See Honeoye from here! We're going to take a right, big descent. This road, if you come down here in the middle of the day, a lot of canopy, and what I remember was the road wasn't very good. Hoping I find that they've done some work on it, because that would sure be nice. Still a chip seal kind of road, so you gotta watch it. But it's kind of a blast to go flying down if you're brave. That road was a little bit better conditioned than the last time I went down it, but even still, I mean, it's straight down to a stop sign, so you come around a curve and like, whoa, if you don't know it's there, so good time anyway. This is Canandaigua. This road has like no room for me in a car. Seneca Lake. On the north side of Seneca. We saw the south side earlier today in Watkins, Glen. Hopefully they don't kick me out of here. Last time I came through here at night, a ranger came along and kicked me out. Sun went down and I missed it. Oh well. Here it is. Every time a bell rings, ding ding. An angel gets its wings. So you can't see it, but I'm in Auburn and at Owasco Lake. It's a little before 11 o'clock. Heading over towards Skinny Atlas next. There's not a lot to see at night, but I see reflections off the water of these houses, but I don't think that's going to show up on camera. Well, it feels like just moments ago that I was here in Skinny Atlas on the 300. Well, in the absence of, to get a good shot, you can hear it. This is the outlet of Ithaca Lake. I can see across the lake a little bit. Maybe we'll be able to see some reflections, I don't know. But, a little after midnight, and I'm here at Ithaca. This is the last of the Finger Lakes. The next one we'll see is Ithaca and Keegan Lake again. Actually, we won't go back down to that lake, but we've seen them all now. Now we just got to get back to the last control. So I finished that ride about 23 hours and change. 23:10, something like that. That kind of finishes up my year of qualifiers for PBP. That finishes up my year of qualifiers for PBP. There's still a few months before PBP in August, so now I've got to figure out how to stay in some sort of shape. Friend Jim met me at the finish, kind of unexpectedly, and kind of rode me back to Ithaca. That's it. That's all the qualifiers. I did the 200 in Philadelphia. Did the covered bridges, 300, early 300 here in the Finger Lakes, a 600 in Canada, and finished up with around the Finger Lakes 400. And of all those rides, I have to say I like that last route the most. The reason I think it's kind of neat is one, it starts right outside my door pretty much. I made that route for a permanent, then just this year got it approved as a brevet. So far I'm the only one who's ridden it. It's just a great route in the area. In the Finger Lakes, it hits every lake. The benefit of that is it's kind of every 20 or 30 miles or so, there's a lake or something interesting to see. I just like it because it's close. It's a lot of fun to make it. It's a lot of fun to make a route. It takes a lot more effort than I thought, but I feel like that's part of the, learning how to do these long distance rides, is getting to plan one and to get other people to ride it. One of the routes that you make, it's kind of fun. Kind of a neat idea. Kind of like highlights your region a little bit, Yeah, so all right, so I'm qualified, and in a couple days I'll probably register for PBP. Kind of cash in on that pre-registration, and then I'll try to keep in shape in the next couple of months. Like if PBP was tomorrow, I think I could do it. The trick is to stay in shape and feel like that I can continue to do the hill climbs and things like that. One of the things that's interesting about that around the Finger Lakes ride is the first time I did it, I remember all the hills seemed really hard and I bonked like all the time, and I never finished it anywhere close to under the allotted time. And this year, totally different. Finished it well under the time limit, and none of the hills seemed killer. And that's the kind of climbing that is going to be a PBP. And I could have made it a hillier ride, but I planned that route out so that it would be approximately the kind of climbing that I'm anticipating at PBP. I think this year it's 30,000 feet over the 1,200 kilometers. And it was easy for me to do these. It was 12,000 feet over the 400 kilometers for around the Finger Lakes, so just a little bit more climbing than I expect a PBP. So if I can keep in that shape, I think I'll be fine.